Curriculum evaluation is integral in curriculum development. As curriculum development is not a tail-end process, evaluation is a necessary aspect of an educational system, providing the basis for curriculum policy, feedbacks, and the continual adjustments and processes of curriculum implementation. And over the years, many curricularists had talked about these processes, sharing their insights on how evaluation takes place. Their differing views had led to many discussions that shape the way the present education system look like, whereby the recent trends suggest various educational reforms. The replacement of the K-12 basic education curriculum exemplifies the same to enhance the status of global education around the world. Since its implementation in 2013 via RA 10533, its effects on educational system has yet to be studied and explored. Insofar, the new format has received mixed reactions. Some of the critics point out their primary concerns on the readiness of our government to implement such drastic change in the system. At the heart of the K-12 curriculum, it stresses on a seamless learning progression that enables students to build proficiency through mother tongue-based and contextualized learning, which all starts at early childhood education. Tracking the preparation for the implementation of the curriculum, it succeeded in deploying government resources on building new classrooms, producing learning materials, and employing manpower. The introduction of voucher program was hailed to provide financial subsidies to students and their academic needs. The transition in public schools have been done in phases starting in school year 2012 to 2013, and it did not only concern BSED, but also higher educational institutions as well as labor agencies. The addition of senior high schools ought to provide a smooth transition from K-12 to tertiary education because the subjects taken in that level are actual prerequisites to college degrees. Its addition will cement explorable employment and entrepreneurial opportunities for senior high school graduates once they acquire national certificates and attain employable status. The K-12 program was rolled out with the intention of making all graduates become more competent for the trends of education and career from the new society to the present time. For 80 years, the program still runs through and the graduates of first batch have reached the point of college. However, nobody exactly knew, in the least could substantiate, where will all graduates of the first batch would end up, not even Secretary Briones herself, stating that they are just about to conduct tracer study on the matter. This met several comments from lawmakers across the country, where one of which suggests a review of the K-12 program. Then, it was found out that there is a tendency for employers in our country to prioritize the employment of college finishers, beating those that are only K-12 graduates. 35% of employers in our country did not want to hire them because they lack sufficient work experience. Meanwhile, as the curriculum of the program emphasized on the integration of newer technology inside the classroom, budgets were amped up to support needed facilities and for the training of teachers. In the most recent proposed budget hearing for fiscal year 2020, Secretary Briones highlighted the achievements of K-12, stating that our educational system significantly geared towards the inclusivity of quality education. Also, she explained how the left-behind policy of BSED resulted to the continuous decline of dropout rate in primary and secondary level. But then again, this was contradicted by the poor performance of Filipino students in trends in international mathematics and science study, whereby Representative Franz Castro, of ACT Teachers Party list, blamed the existing curriculum for countries placing last among the 58 others that took part. This evidence further solidified the trend for the low performance in the last 2018 program for International Students Assessment and National Achievement Test. Briones addressed these issues by introducing the major initiative of BSED to improve the dimension of learning outcomes, curriculum, and the enrichment of teachers' capacity to equip them for their career progression. To address the problem on the underperformance exhibited by learners, due to the shift of the former curriculum to K-12, wherein contents were changed, it must be expected that it would take a few years of adjustments for not only the students, but other stakeholders, to adapt to the new system. In a comparative study conducted on the structural implementation and planning of K-12 curriculum between countries Mongolia, Canada, Ontario, Turkey, and the Philippines, teacher development is considered as a cornerstone of a polished educational reform. Then, the results of the World Bank's Philippines Public Education Expenditure Tracking and Quantitative Service Delivery Study showed that elementary and high school teachers are not equipped to teach considerable portions of the K-12 curriculum. The estimates from the Department of Science and Technology, also, suggest that the majority of science teachers are unqualified, including 73% of physics teachers and 66% of chemistry teachers who neither majored nor minored in the subjects they teach. Which brings us to the conclusion that there is a need to change teaching practices. Strengthening the role of teacher education institutions like Teacher Education Council and National Educators Academy of the Philippines at the start of pre-service teacher programs to in-service trainings can upskill and reskill teachers. Lastly, the concerns on the skill mismatch of K-12 graduates who intend to pursue middle skills training or start up their business then continue to college should be monitored and be offered direct, realistic and actual employment/entrepreneurial opportunities. DepEd must further negotiate to labor industry sector and civil service commission to open labor firms in accommodating K-12 graduates. Another overlooked concern for this matter is to make K-12 graduates more employable. So, DepEd must provide evidence that K-12 graduates can compete and be as productive as degree holders by opening avenues for skill enrichment in their program. The changes that went through over the course of 8 years had led to the rise of significant issues within areas of implementing the curriculum and its results. Based from the outcomes and findings of several studies mentioned in actual data and evaluation of the K-12 program, the areas that needed well-supplied attention are on the actual performance and proficiency of students, skill mismatch of senior high graduates to labor demands, and the training of teachers to be more equipped suitable bearers of new knowledge.